to Playbook for Performance, the official podcast of Shauna Corden, the Joan of Arc for corporate healing and performance. Join the quest to make work fun again by preparing leadership for engaging workplaces. And now, your host.
Hello and welcome, friends. I'm Shauna Corden, and I'm glad to have you here on the Playbook for Performance podcast. Our mission is to make work fun again by building better leaders. This month's theme is all about engagement. And if you have a specific engagement question, email us and we can add it to our social media. Just drop a note to podcast@shaunacorden.com. Now, last week we talked about engagement and why engagement is so important. And today we're talking about flow and how it relates to engagement. So just to recap the definition of an engagement, we're talking about a combination of productivity, profitability, and retention. So what is flow? Flow is that magical state when you're so engrossed in what you're doing that time flies. Now, if this is a topic that is of great interest to you, check out the work by the same title by the psychologist/author who coined this term, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Hopefully I got that pretty close. The term came from the way the participants described this state, like being carried along with the water, flowing with the current. What does this have to do with engagement? It's the productivity arm of our engagement triad. We are at an utmost state of productivity because we're not just engrossed and highly focused, but we're also enjoying ourselves, which is what we want for every employee and every leader. There are a number of combining factors that make up the state of flow, including being present and in the moment, clear on the purpose of the action, a lack of self-consciousness, a sense of personal control, time flying, and it being intrinsically rewarding, meaning not for the approval of others. All of these factors regarding flow can be influenced heavily by coaching. This is part of making work fun again. We work on items such as mindfulness and being present. We work on creating clarity and intention. We also address confidence areas, such as focusing on effort and practice versus being attached to results. We want every client to feel like they're the captain of their own ship and determine their own fate, using their gifts and talents, and finally, living in accordance with their own values. And in coaching, we call that integrity. In fact, so many of these virtues of flow are so important to coaching, they're actually part of our coaching code of ethics, the competencies that we practice as coaches, and strive to be in every coaching interaction. You'll even find that these elements are so fundamental that coaches will specialize in one or more of these very elements of flow. With all of these agreeable attributes of flow, naturally, we'd like to increase the amount of time spent in flow. Now, leaders can encourage this state in a number of ways. Leaders can model being present by not multitasking, putting away distracting devices, and giving their full attention to the topic or the person at hand. They can challenge each action item and confirm that the team is clear on the purpose of each action. They can encourage expression and refrain from judgment, especially in public, contributing to an environment that eliminates self-consciousness. We can clearly confirm that the leader is covering the what, but the employee is endowed with the ability to determine the how, which contributes to their sense of personal control. We can encourage productive time by setting boundaries for meetings and even do not disturb time zones to contribute to time flying. And finally, they can ensure that just as easily that they can bestow approval, they can take it away. And therefore, the employee should strive for their own personal approval and growth milestones in their work. I also believe these behaviors make good parenting to raise happy, strong, self-confident, and grounded children. Now, if you'd like to create a team environment that fosters flow and leadership behaviors that encourage flow, schedule a workshop for your team with me. And you can email me at shauna@shaunacorden.com. That brings us to our tool of the week, eliminating obstacles. Great leaders remove obstacles that prevent work from being completed. Employees should be able to ask for what they need: air cover, backup, reinforcements, supplies, anything that gets in the way of flow. As an example, look around the room that you're in with a fresh set of eyes. Pretend that you're a first-time visitor. Are the items in the room arranged for the purpose of the room? If there's a reading chair, is there a light nearby that doesn't cast a shadow across the page of your book? Is there a place to set a beverage, a throw to provide warmth? Does the setting welcome the work you conduct in this space? Be intentional. What do you need to be the most comfortable and productive? Now, apply this to your team space, or ask this question of your team members. What do they need to be productive? So here's your field work, because coaching without action isn't coaching, it's just entertainment. Think through the top activities that you go through in each day. Is your routine and space well suited to produce success? Do they encourage good habits? Or are you going through a number of workarounds, climbing over obstacles, the equivalent of baling wire and chewing gum to get things done? Be sure that you have personal habits or standard operating procedures and business rules to address the regular workflow. Create good habits that feed you and make the work a joy. One effective method to start new habits comes from the Premack method, the psychologist who made this discovery. Pair a new habit with an existing one for stickability. Do the new habit immediately before an ingrained one, like doing 10 push-ups immediately before brushing your teeth. Soon you'll have chains of tasks done together, like taking your vitamins, refilling your water glass, flossing, brushing, and putting in that retainer. I have found this method so effective that it's never a surprise to me when I miss my vitamins, because upon seeing them still in the tray, I can recall the moment my routine was interrupted and what else was forgotten too. Each week in the podcast, I like to highlight a leader doing it well in the news or from a listener and one that had a wobble. And if you'd like to nominate your organization, please email me at podcast@shaunacorden.com. This week, I want to applaud the employers who recognize they are in the courting game of current employees. Not prospective employees, but current employees. Competition is fierce out there. The threat of talent leaving for no good reason is real. Employers are making smart moves by improving conditions, pay and rewards of those who stay. I even read a story about an employer paying people to leave to know who was really engaged and committed. Encourage what you can do to renew your vows with your employees. That's all for this week. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, give us a rating, and tell your friends. If you'd like to hear more about a topic that would make your work fun again by improving the leaders in your organization, please drop us a line at podcast@shaunacorden.com. Until next week, take good care.
Thank you for listening to Playbook for Performance. To learn more about Shauna Corden, her consulting programs and tools, please visit her website at shaunacorden.com and follow us on social media at Shauna Corden.